Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the known world, and welcome to Chatting with Corporate. I'm one of your hosts, Bridget Costello, social media. And before we start, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we are all meeting today and watching today, and pay my respects to their continuing link to land and country, and any elders past, present, and emerging, and to the elders of all cultures who are with us today. We are very excited to have the one, the only Renee Signorotti with us today. But before we bring on our legendary guest, I'm going to introduce my co-host, Jessica.
Hi. Thank you so much, Bridget. I'm so excited to be here. Our second episode. So exciting. My name is Jessica Van Hattem. In the SCA, I'm known as Baroness Sarah. I am the corporate DEI officer. Me and Bridget are super excited to do this interview. We've been really looking forward to it. I'm going to let her explain our format a little bit, and then we're going to jump right in.
Thanks so much, Jess. So as you know from this, the whole point of these is for you to understand a little bit about who are the people behind the curtain. Who are the people who work behind the scenes to actually make sure that we have the corporate structures that enable us to play the game we all love. And this one, as a result, what we do is we've got a series of set questions. So we work through those set questions, but we're going to invite you to pop your questions in the chat below. And what we'll try and do is answer as many of them as possible at the end of the session. So talking about people behind the curtain, there is probably no greater force behind our curtain than someone who I quite happily describe as the heart of the corporate office. Renee Signorotti, our VP of Corporate Operations. Renee, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I've been here a long time, a very long time. I've been married to the same guy for like 48 years. I have 2 children and a special niece who we call a who is like our daughter, and 8 grandkids. And that's it.
Sounds like a wonderful family.
Yeah.
So what will happen is I'm probably going to ask a question, and then Jessica will ask a question, and then we'll just roll with it. If at any point you suddenly come up with questions for us, feel free to throw it back. This is a very equal opportunity podcast. But let's start with, how did you come to work for the SCA?
Actually, my neighbor, she moved in and we became good friends. She was Clevedon Shoehaus, and she was the registrar at the time. Sandra Dodd, Elflet of Duckworth, was the steward, and Clevedon asked me if I would like to help keep the books, do memberships, because everything was done by hand, literally. And I would go over there to her home in the evening, and we would do data entry for every membership that came in for the month. We waited till the end of the month to do it all, and we did it over a phone line into Compact, the company Compact. So it was pretty primitive, but it was a great way to learn the organization, and it allowed me to be home with my kids. It was a great opportunity. It's been a great job all these years.
Well, and so we talk about learning the organization. I think what's really interesting that a lot of people might not know is that you don't currently play in the SCA, and you never have.
I never have.
We are an interesting bunch. I have to know, what were your first thoughts when you started to learn more about the SCA and all the people in it?
Oh, I always thought it was really interesting. I really enjoy history. I chose not to be a member, mainly because it's my job. And back then, when things were so manual, it took a long time to resolve people's problems, so going to an event could have been a big work experience that I didn't want on my after hours, to be honest. So it's not that I wasn't interested. It's not that I don't care. It's just the box is, this is my job. So my kids were very interested in it. So, it's not like we totally ignored the organization.
And I can really imagine that, particularly given the amount of time that the manual processes would have taken you. You know, having that little bit of separation of, I suppose, church and state, we could call it. So you have your home life and your recreation, rather than, you know, go to work and then on your weekend go to work, but socially.
Go to work some more.
Yes. Now, here at Chatting with Corporate, we're all about the big, hard-hitting questions. So I want you to think really seriously. What's your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Actually, I they're all okay. We're the cookie cupboard for Milpitas Girl Scouts, so we had about, I don't know how many thousands of boxes of Girl Scout cookies here for the last 18 months. So
can we congratulate you on your self-control?
Yeah, none.
You know, you and Teresa doing a fabulous job maintaining the integrity of the Girl Scout cookies of Milpitas.
Yeah, we did.
So, Bridge, what's your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Yeah.
I've never eaten a Girl Scout cookie.
Oh my gosh.
I was a Girl Guide when I was growing up, and so there's one flavor of Girl Guide biscuits in Australia. Biscuit cookie.
Yeah.
You know, and it's shortbread, and it was tasty, but the variety that I see my friends talk about in North America is remarkable.
I love tagalongs. They're these cookies with
peanut
butter
butter
and the chocolate. I love them. Everyone loves Thin Mints, and I can't stand them.
They're not.
Is it not a mint thing, or is it?
So it's mint and chocolate.
Too waxy chocolate.
See, I will send you both some mint chocolate Australian biscuits that I think could potentially. Yes. So
we would love that. We got to send you the full complement of Girl Scout cookies, it sounds like.
I'll get on it.
All right. Next question. So what is the greatest challenge that you face in your role as VP of Operations?
The greatest challenge ever?
We can go ongoing or ever, whichever is
more poignant. I think really right now, and it's just been a huge worry, a huge financial worry. There's been lots of challenges. I mean, there's been lots of hard times that the SCA had, but never quite like this. That it's just impacted everybody's life, and I'd say this, and worrying about the financial viability of the organization.
And you've done a lot of work behind the scenes, working with the president, John Fulton, and the former chairman, Craig Carter, looking at what are the corporate strategies we can put in place to actually help manage some of that financial burden. I know you've done negotiation with a number of our vendors.
Yeah, with the insurance company, with members only, and they've all been, they've been quite kind to us. I'm a little bit worried what next year will look like once we open back up, but it's always all about the negotiation for deals. Yeah. So.
And we really appreciate the time and effort that you've put into doing that. So thank you from, I think, each and every one of us for that. I know it's
my pleasure to do it, because it was a hand wringer for me.
So thinking about sort of things from who's probably been your greatest inspiration just in this sort of, or if it's not an SCA related question, what is your, who inspires you?
Oh, actually, to be honest with you, Teresa's been quite an inspiration. Her family's had some really horrendous catastrophes happen to them, and just to keep plugging along and one foot in front of the other, you have to really admire that.
Teresa's your admin who acts as your support in the office as to the VP.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Bridget?
So she supports you in your role as Vice President of Corporate Operations.
She really does.
Teresa is also on our list of people we'd like to maybe have a little chat to, just because I think
She'll never do it. Nope. She's a behind the scenes kind of girl.
Well, if you ever watch this, Teresa, the known world knows of your work, and we thank you for it. We really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I will let her know.
All right. So what is your favorite hobby?
Oh, I have many. I
Tell
quilt and I do a lot of different needlework. We have dogs that we do therapy work with, and my husband did search and rescue with his previous dog, so we're lots of service work, I guess, with autistic kids. I'm going to start working again at juvenile hall with the dogs and the kids. So,
Thank you. As someone who's currently got a foster dog myself, seeing the little bits of advice that you have has been very helpful. And I think there's a lot of dogs in the world that just need a bit of love to be able to find the right home for them. So how has you mentioned a bit at the start of the interview about how when you started everything was manual. That's probably not the only change you've seen. So how has your role of VP of operations sort of shifted over time?
Well, once we went to members only and member managed membership, that's a lot of members, but where you managed your membership primarily, it changed the whole perspective really of the job. It really did. I mean, now it's customer service a little bit compared to customer service constantly before. And I devote more time to management, the business side of things than entering memberships. I mean, we still do some of that, but very, very little in comparison to, the before.
It must have really sort of been that sort of transition as you start to see automation coming in to support, and your role really expanding from sort of administrative into sort of making business management decisions about what are the effective choices that can be made to support the organization financially and making sure that we're compliant, etc., with our obligations.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and when we say manual, I'm talking every single membership was entered in a green ledger book, down to the kingdom assignment, the zip code, the publications. I mean, you had a line all the way across that green ledger book. Every single member was entered into those books. And then you did data entry, and then everything was done at the month end, not other than daily ledgering. But yeah, it's very different now. And it's a godsend, really.
It's creating systems that really help support stuff, which is
it's helped
kind of crazy.
Our bodies.
So much time has passed where so much has shifted in the world as far as technology. Everything that we used to do even 15 years ago is completely different.
Very different. I remember when the Rialta came on, and that Dave Thulis was on the board. That's how long ago that was. And it was like, I'm not looking at that. I don't need to see.
So that for people who may not be aware of what the Rialto was like a series of message boards sort of where that people could sort of participate on. So it was the Facebook of yesteryear in some ways, as we've seen sort of technology evolve.
It got very nasty sometimes. So I didn't need the negativity.
I feel like we've maybe gotten slightly better at the different social medias. Maybe
couldn't live without it.
I think
I like to think so, but I could be biased.
A little.
Yeah, just a little.
A little. Okay. So we touched on this really briefly, but do you have any pets, and can you tell us about them?
Right now we have two labs. One is 4 and one is 1. So
What breeds are they?
they're both
Oh, you
labs.
said they're both
They're
black
black.
labs, golden labs,
Yellow
labs.
both
Oh.
yellow.
What are
Mhm.
their names? Sorry, this is the important, hard-hitting
We're
journalism
very
of
into that.
chatting with corporate.
The older one is Rock, ROC, and the puppy is Geo, GEO.
Oh,
And I see you do like nose works.
We do.
Is
Mhm.
that like a scent training kind of?
It's scent training.
oh,
Yeah.
And
cool.
like, how does that help the dogs?
It gives them a job. They love it.
So it's like sort of negotiating their way through various different.
They find hides. It can be vehicles, exterior, anywhere exterior, interior, high, low, whatever.
Well, a bored dog is a dog that gets into trouble. So.
It certainly is. Yeah.
So we in corporate tend to think you're pretty super powered, but we understand you've actually recently received your first round of vaccination. Have you noticed any additional superpowers? Like I'm hoping for teleportation, and then you can come visit.
My rabies shots are done. I've had both already. Yeah.
Both.
A big relief. Yeah. A gift.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing that the technology allows us to have developed this way of helping our bodies build immunity.
Yeah. So,
I must admit, our rollout's going a little slower in Australia, but I am so excited to see all of my North American and European friends starting to see their vaccinations. It just means that life can start moving on in a way that we haven't been able to.
It was an amazing feeling of relief to get the second shot. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a really difficult year in a lot of different ways. And so there's a little bit, I know it's not over, but there is just this breath that you take once you're fully, you get the 2 and you're like, oh, okay.
It's made us analyze what really is important too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you are leaving us. You are retiring this fall.
Old lady.
We are happy for you, but also really upset because it leaves this huge hole in the corporate office.
No.
But we're working with you to find a new candidate. So I would love for you to talk more about why you think people should apply.
Well, I think it's a great job. Obviously, I stayed for a long time by desire, and if you're able to work on your own, because really we do work in somewhat of a vacuum in a small office, it's a great job. I mean, it's fulfilling. It's, there's customer service. That's part of the job I like the best is interacting with people, even though I know lots of times when they call, their hair's on fire, they're frustrated, help me now, it's 30 days too late kind of thing.
Right.
I'm okay with that. So that's the best part of the job. If you like touching people, this is a good place, really.
Yeah.
So,
and then we had a quick question about the requirement of the replacement to live and work near Santa Clara County. Can you talk about why that is?
Well, for training purposes, and it's not feasible to move the office out of the state of registration right now. That will take a lot of work to do, and it's not something right now that's in the cards currently. That's not to say it won't be, just like someday possibly this will be a virtual or a much smaller job, basically. There's a lot of ifs right now. So in order to facilitate good training and interface, the job needs to stay kind of close, but we're spread out. So there's, I'm totally okay with 3 different counties that are close to Santa Clara County, but that's the reason mainly.
And just as a bit of a follow-up, what do you think is one of the things that people might think that they need, like, but is a bit of a myth in your mind?
I think you need a good general office background, good common sense, some accounting, because most of the accounting is outsourced to a professional CPA. He's been our CPA for a long time. I interface with the brokers, the auditors, but we have professionals that handle things because we're a small office, mainly for security reasons too. Look, for instance, we don't get the bank statements delivered to the office. They go directly to an outside bookkeeper who interfaces with the CPA. So because Teresa and I are here touching money, writing checks, we have to be very, very careful. So there's safeguards in place, but you don't need a PhD to do this job. You need to be self-motivated and have good common sense and be willing to kind of work on your own and be self-motivated. So,
and I think based on the current incumbent, spectacular customer service might also come in handy.
Oh,
yeah.
It's what I love. So yeah. Yeah.
We're back to the hard-hitting questions. Yeah. All right. If you could camp for a weekend anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Oh, the Sierras, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the beach. So I'm definitely getting a sense of warm is the preference here.
Oh yeah, cold's not my friend, but hot isn't either. So I have to have a happy medium.
Finding that lovely temperate environment.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Are you a tent or are an RV or?
No, we're an RV.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's an evolution that happens at times from the
yes,
pop-up vinyl tent to the slightly, and in an SEO context, you quite often see pop-up vinyl tent, quick and easy. Then you move into the more sort of maybe sort of like the cone ones, and then you go into the big canvas ones, and then you see people start to evolve into sort of Vados, like our current chairman, and who does a spectacular garment.
So cute.
Yes. And then you have the hotel room factor, which, don't get me wrong, like I don't need 1 million stars over my head at times. 5 will do. I'm very easy about that.
That is perfect.
Oh, girl, I will admit to not being very good at the nature in general. The first time I camped was for the SCA, and I'm pretty sure I was like, wow, a lot of nature is touching me, and there's no Wi-Fi. I don't like it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I think
it was an adjustment.
You can't, because you love the experience in whatever way that it is. Some people like the actual camping experience, and I respect and affirm their right to do so. I camp because I like the opportunities it gives me to play the other games, and generally because I'm supported by amazing people who help make the whole camping thing work, sort of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's about the people, although I will admit the RV, that helps a lot.
You could do it.
I can do that one.
No, my husband's and kids are big backpackers, but I'm not interested in taking my hotel on my back. Thanks anyway.
Oh my gosh. That sounds like all the difficulty of camping, but first having to carry just all this. Oh God, no.
Well, yeah, you don't want to. He's been dropped by helicopter into the Sierras with his dog and overnight searching. So this is right up their alley.
That is intense. I have a miniature dachshund who is as bougie as I am, who would not play these games.
Yeah.
So my greyhounds are currently wearing pajamas. These are not like hardcore dogs. It's chilly. We're in autumn down here. So
yeah.
I support you and your cute little pups and their cute little pajamas.
Mine would never tolerate it. Never.
Yeah. Yeah, yours have like roughly 35% body fat. Mine have 16. So
Well, that is true. Yes. And an extra coat too underneath the first coat. So yeah.
yeah, we don't have that.
All right, we are gonna jump back. Big detour. We talked a little bit about the bone donation. Can you
Right.
tell us more about it?
Oh, I'd be very happy to. We had a very generous donation from the Bone family for, it started out for providing dance books to all the local, or baronies, I guess it was. And so it had a little bit of tight parameters. We've opened the parameters a little bit now, and the family is now working on opening up the parameters even more. It's money to be used for now dance and music, basically. And so we are encouraging people, once we can do things again, to think about ways to use this. They need to contact us. There's specific guidelines that we have, and reporting, but it was a very generous donation, and I'd love to see the money, really used more than it has been.
So they'll reach out to your office if they want to. Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit like a grant system, isn't it? So
Yeah,
they reach out, they
dance
find out about the
symposium.
requirements, and then they provide a proposal which can go, yep, that meets our eligibility criteria. Fabulous.
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty easy too. It's
Yeah,
not
we
quite
are
as
really
bad.
a society that has benefited so much. We've benefited so much from the generosity of our members. It has been one of the great blessings of the community, and I really think that's sort of one of the hallmarks of our community. For example, the Membership Assistance Fund is something that you helped set up.
Right.
Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, that fund is strictly for people that are having a hard time purchasing a membership, renewing a membership for themselves, their family. So we have specified funds that are set aside in a separate account, and all it takes is an email to me or a phone call asking for assistance. There's no questions asked. There's no proof required that you're having a hard time. It's a simple, no problem, fill out of application, mail it or fax it or email it to me, and we'll take care of you. So I encourage people to use it. There's no shame in asking for help. This is a really hard time for people.
And one of the things we know about our community is the reason that something like this that works is because we know you're our people, and we know that we can trust you, because when you need a hand, you can get a hand, and when you can give a hand, you give a hand, and that's really SCA people.
That is very, very true, because we also have the donate to the SCA, and on top of this hardship fund that people have donated to also. So I'd say people have gone to great lengths to make things easy for everybody. So, and I think how can you not think this is a great organization when there's that much giving?
We get a bit of assistance too, don't we, from some of the relationships you've built with the insurance and sort of like members only. We've made a couple of changes to make those sort of things a bit easier.
Oh, sure. I mean, that it's all about the smooth sometimes, but yeah, I think, well, our accountant is another one who gives us great service, doesn't charge for 9/10 of the phone conversations we have, and yeah. So,
and we're waiving the late fee, I think, at the moment for the insurance.
I am. There's no need to be charging late fees when it changes by the minute. How can we nick people for that? So yeah, no late fees right now.
All right, we're gonna have a little fun one. Somebody asked your favorite liquor, which I have to know, favorite drinks in general. I've been kind of missing the fun times of the drinking together.
Nothing wrong with a good tequila sunrise.
Can't go wrong.
Mm-mm.
Can't
No.
go wrong.
No.
Bridge, where you at?
I'm sort of, I have two that are my sort of thing. Gin and tonic. And we're seeing a bit of an explosion in the Australian gin market in terms of that. So it's a very, just for those long summer days, and a really nice single malt whiskey. Like, yeah, I'm a single malt whiskey girl. It's a sipper sort of in an evening. It's a beautiful thing. And I will drink all of the ones for the people that people don't like responsibly and with regular water, because, you know, it's one of those things. Oh, and if anyone's just after a really nice non-alcoholic drink, I actually just love fresh lime and soda. It's just, or elderflower cordial is also those really light, refreshing kind of flavors. As people are aware, it can get a little warm here in sunny Australia. So being able to know what are your sort of like nice non-alcoholic drinks really work for me.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the kind of nonsense sweet drinks. So I really like amaretto sours. I thought I would grow out of it. I did not. I'm still about it. But everyone around me loves scotch and like whiskeys, and well, I guess scotch is a type of whiskey, right? And bourbon is a type of whiskey. So
yep.
Yeah, no, people are very into it here. And while I enjoy it, I'm like, these are so wasted on me, because I'm like, this is great. And they're like, it's a 14-year whatever. And I'm like, years.
Yours.
It's warming and burny. Yay.
Yay.
I will say I have a little bit of a tradition though when I'm cruising. That if I go on a cruise, I tend to love a frozen margarita. So I'm with you on the tequila at that point.
It's like a Slurpee.
Yeah, pretty much. You can make a gin and tonic slushy, just for anyone who needs to know. But, you know, that was more an accident of leaving something in a fridge that was too high, but it was a very pleasant discovery. So, we mentioned briefly about sort of members only, and I know there are people out there who don't quite understand what was the event module that got mentioned in the recent resolution from the board of directors about being able to open up under your kingdom's rules and requirements and in compliance with sort of all the modern requirements that we obviously need to do. Could you explain a little bit about what the event module is?
Yeah, it's all part of members only. So, and we used it last year for Gulf Wars, and we tested it from start all the way to the very bitter end of issuing lots of refunds. But basically an event is set up in the module and you register for this event, and it is refined down to if there's camping, if you want the top bunk, or you know, the food is in there. Everything can be built into the event, and then including the non-member surcharge for anyone that's not a member and is attending the event. Then the corporate side of it will distribute the funds back to the kingdoms or the group. So everything is built in. It's just a method of signing up, and just a registration system basically is what it is.
So it basically acts as it's an online registration system that works with some of our financial systems and takes some of that manual processing burden off everybody.
And you will log in just like you're renewing your membership. You log in, it looks just like the whole membership portal. It's all part of that. So it knows your ad, it knows all of your information by you logging into it.
Very cool. Very cool.
Just as a side note, guys, we've just noticed we do have a couple of spammers hitting the Society Facebook page. This is the only video link that you should be following, which is the live one. Please do not click any other links in the comments. We're working through those at the moment to remove the spammers. Sorry to interrupt,
I got my
Renee.
fast little fingers trying to delete in the
You and me both. We takes Renee's multi-skilling ability. We're following in your
Yeah.
footsteps.
John would like to ask, can you do the event module without being a member?
Yes. You
Thank you.
sign in as a non-member. There's people do it all the time to order from the stock clerk. We have a lot of non-members. You're assigned a number, but there's nothing goes to finalization on your, you don't get a membership. You haven't paid for it. So
Sure. So very functional, open to everyone.
absolutely. Well, as long as the kingdom is in compliance, it will be required that they'll be trained. We're going to do a show and tell. Mazel and I are going to do a show and tell. We're setting the dates now in the next week or so. And then we will do online training webinars with the Kingdom Seneschal, Exchequer, and their deputies. Or they have to have a deputy for the event module. And that deputy will be the administrator for the.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, we are coming up on the end. We have just a couple more questions. So if anyone has any questions to throw out, now is the time. Drop them in chat. I will grab them. So you have been around for a lot of changing of the board, right? So a lot of different directors. What are some strategies you have for kind of coping with all of the different personalities and the high turnover of just a system where every 6 months you have a new person?
It's not really ever been a problem. We're all a team, and the team changes, and I still have the job that I have to do regardless. And that is my focus, just to follow what they need me to do and then do it as best as I can. And really, it's worked fine. I've really not had many problems at all.
And we want you to know that one of the things, and you don't know about this part of this at all. So we still promise no gotchas, but there a number of people wanted to actually, so we wanted to tell you, we have been inundated on the announcement on the Facebook page and other comments about people who've worked with you over the years showing their appreciation. So people have been talking about the fact how much you were a joy to work with, how you made their time on the board easier, how you kept them, you helped bring them on, you helped embed them into the organization. People who've randomly reached out to say, hey, I had a problem with my membership, I didn't know where to go, Renee looked after me, she sorted me, it was all. So the organization is reaching out to tell you that you are so appreciated and a little bit loved. And we're not going to dwell on it because we promised we wouldn't make you cry.
Please don't,
but we're just letting you know that there is a lot of comments that we've seen in the posts about this. So for someone behind the curtain, as you've described yourself on a couple of occasions, you are seen and you are valued, and the organization thanks you so very, very much.
It's been a great ride, really.
So as Jessica said, we're just doing a little bit of a scan or sort of thing. We've had a couple of questions. Do you think, one of them that came in is, do you think that the online sort of board meetings, etc., have had been a help to the game or to help spread the word and people understanding?
I think it has. I think because people can come even when the board travels, it's not always a huge turnout. So this was a great way for people to see how hard, and really they're only seeing a minuscule amount of how hard the board works at every quarter. I mean, it's just the Saturday meeting, which used to be the Friday meeting when we met in person, is grueling, absolutely grueling. And these people are donating their time to do this. This is not like I'm an employee, I get paid for doing this job. Board members,
none of our board members are paid, are they?
No, they are not paid. It is truly gratuitous. So Yeah, I think it's been a good thing. It's hard to not meet in person, I agree, but I don't think it's necessarily been a bad thing. And what amazes me is what people have done, just local groups with all the online things. I sometimes go in and check and stuff. It's amazing what people have had the guts to do and taking the time to do it for everybody. So when I get those questions from people that say, can I get a refund because I didn't get to play? My response is there was lots of things that you could access that, and I hope you do, but we don't do refunds. Sorry. But yeah, I'm quite impressed with what everybody did.
Yeah, I think people have come together to really sort of build things in a whole lot of different ways. And, we may see as we keep building on our learnings, ways in which we can incorporate this as life gets back to a sort of a slightly more normal path. But I think there's definitely some of the benefits that we've got out of this that we'll be able to learn. I know it's a lot easier for me to sit and have a chat with you for a start. It would be under normal circumstances for you and I in particular. But,
No, but you can come and visit me anytime.
Right back.
I am looking forward to us all getting together, and
yes.
I'm not gonna lie, the adult slushies, you had me.
You do that.
I'm here. Yeah, it's been really incredible over the last year seeing everyone kind of be able to come together online in a way that they could never normally. And I do really want to underscore the BOD works at these meetings. Basically, when we are in person, you wake up early and you go to the meeting and you meet all day, and then you get food and you talk about business over dinner, and then you get drinks and you talk about business over drinks, and it is just
not on the SCA dime. Let's clarify that.
Nope, not on the SCA dime. But it is really a labor of love, and it is absolutely. And I say the BOD, but what I mean also is the corporate officers who go to the meetings as well, right? You've got officers there, the Society Seneschal, you've got legal, you've got whichever officers are contributing to that meeting, and they are also there just really plugging away. And it's really impressive to see the kind of dedication everyone has for the organization. It really is. All right, we got one more question I'm seeing. Have you been able to figure out a way to preserve your institutional memory? You will be very missed.
There's lots of people that have the same memories as I do. It'll be fine.
I think we're all just very afraid to let you go.
Don't be. We're looking for, we'll find the right person. I have faith that we will. I will never write a book. Let me just be real clear.
No tell-all.
No tell-all.
And on behalf of social media, I thank you. But at some point, girl, I want those stories. Just saying, hook me up.
The slushies. Yeah. The slushies.
Because you and Teresa are our only paid employees, aren't you?
No, we've got.
Oh, sorry.
Well, right?
In our office, in terms of the.
In the office currently, yeah. I have
we have there's a bit of a misunderstanding that there's only that, but we do pay for the services that we provide.
Correct. Yes. Mm-hmm. And there's officers that receive stipends. They're minuscule, but they do.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into this, and we talked about bringing you back for a financial town hall in the future as well. So before you run away from us, we will likely be having a financial town hall, along with other folks who are in the positions of the know in the SCA and can tell us all a little bit more about what it takes to run this organization, which is enormous, legitimately global, and it ain't easy. It ain't easy.
Not hard. It's just it's a business. This is a business, and it's treated as such.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's that level of professionalism that people bring to the work that they do, whether or not it's personal, like on a volunteer capacity,
right?
Or people like yourself who've contributed such amazing service.
I mean,
So we're coming to the end, and I can't spot any more questions in the chat. Although I did see a shout out for the chocolate martini, so respect. Just as a suggestion for potential expansion on your when you get to the point of really, because you're not retiring immediately. You want to make sure that any person that comes in is really well supported and trained.
That's right. Yeah. I am staying till the lease is up here September 29th. So right now, October 1st is my hit the road day, but we need to make sure everything is squared away.
Yep. It's that level of dedication that you've always brought to everything. We are in no way surprised that you're doing the same thing now.
Obsessive would be the word, Bridget. Obsessive.
None of us can relate to that, Renee. No. I don't know what you mean. No. All right, so we're coming to the very last question of that, and we'd like to thank you as well, because we know this sort of thing is a little out of your comfort zone. We really appreciate you having taken the time with us. But what's the most important thing you'd like anyone who might be watching this sort of interview to take away from our chat?
Oh, just that, it's been a great opportunity. And I really do appreciate it.
And I think not quite as much as we appreciate But on that basis, we really appreciate you having taken the time and becoming the video star that you told me quite firmly you did not want to be.
Easy. Yeah. We'll do the finance one too. And, we'll be good.
Yeah.
I'm going to do really quick plugs before we wrap up. We are going to continue with the Chatting with Corporate series. We're going to be trying to get through the entirety of all of the folks up here in the corporate office and on the bod. So please do join us for that. There will also be a town hall at the end of this month with the Society Seneschal Liz and the President John, and we are going to talk about any questions that you might have for reopening. So you can fill out your questions on the form of the Topical Town Hall submission sheet. We'll take as many of them as we can, and we'll take questions on the day of as well. So be on the lookout for that. We'll create an event once we have a firm date for that. And then, like I also mentioned, the financial town hall is coming up. So you can submit questions for that too. There's a little drop down and you can pick which category it goes in. And we will get folks in front of you to answer those pressing needs and questions. And then you can always reach out to Bridget at socialmedia@sca.org or myself at equity@sca.org with any other requests or questions that you might want to have.
And so with that, we'll say one final thank you. Renee, you as always have been a delight. And thank you
so much. Have you guys.
No, but we'd just like to say thank you very much, and we look forward to joining you and seeing you all the next time we go chatting with corporate. So with that, we'll leave you. Thank you very much for your time.